So now that I've kind of run through that with you, I'm going to run you through a few dot points here, and they're going to come up on the screen here. So you want to make sure that you teach your students how to go through practice questions. And when they go through practice questions, I essentially have a method or a process that my students need to work through before they bring it to me, and then I give them feedback and they get to finish the last few steps of this process. So the first thing is they need to break down the question, which is what we just walked through. So first, teach them how to do that, and so they need to do that first. Second is they need to plan their answer. Now you plan your answer and you get feedback on your plan. Okay, that's number one. That's your first response cycle loop. So you're gonna have your little question that you've broken down, plan your answer, and get feedback on the plan before they invest a whole bunch of time into writing out their big answer to the question. So once they get feedback, they then adjust their plan. They're then gonna write out their first draft answer. I would generally get my students, depending on where they're at with their learning, to either check that themselves. So they have sample answers from NESA. You have marking criteria from NESA. I would give that to them, and they need to check the answer themselves and provide their own feedback and make adjustments. They might share it with a friend. If they're not quite at that level, they'll share it with a friend. Their friend can provide some feedback and make some adjustments. And then it's not until after one of those two things has happened, or maybe even both of those have happened, and they've again refined their answer, that they then bring it to me to get further feedback. And so I will get not their first draft, I'm getting their second draft, maybe their third draft of this answer. And so my feedback then shouldn't require as much as what they've already had earlier. Okay, they've been able to go back and check and to make sure they're addressing all the different bits of the dot points, all the dash points in their answer, making sure the content is there, that they're doing what the verb has asked them to do, and now they're giving it to me. Once they give it to me, I'm going to go through it. I'm not giving them marks. I'm giving them feedback about how they can improve their answer and the things in their answer that I really like. Okay, normally I might pick one or two things I really like and then give them one thing from the question, from the answer they've got, that they could do to improve it. And then I'll send them back off. They can make that improvement. If you have lots of those kind of steps, don't give it all in this one question. Okay, hopefully your student's going to do lots and lots of these. If you constantly just give them one thing to improve, and one thing that generally relates to their writing structure or how they're doing in terms of breaking down questions, in terms of working out how what they're writing responds to and answers the question, is generally where hopefully you need to focus. Although content level feedback should have happened already before it got to you. And so you want to frequently just be thinking, what do we need to do? How can she improve going forward? And the feedback you apply to this question should also apply to future questions that she's going to have to do. So thinking, making sure that your feedback is future focused and helping her, even if she doesn't redo this question, it'll still help her to read that feedback for the next question that she does. Okay, and then finally, when it's all finished and it's beautiful, then you might say, okay, here's the next question. That process should take a student about a week to do, and I would generally have my students getting through at least one question a week as they're getting ready for their HSC exams. It really helps if they get lots of practice going through this kind of a system when they're getting ready for their HSC exam.